Who's in the box?
Because I envy your normal life.
Put the gun down, David.
It seems that envy is my sin.
Oh, what's in the box?
Not till you give me the
What's
gun.
in the fucking box?
Give me the gun.
What's up, YouTube land? It's Pat from Ground Zero Salem, and I'm back. It's time to round out these 7-inch boxes. It's going to be the last one. I'm excited. I'm a little sad. Last edition of What's in the Box. We're listening to the just-released Life's Blood semi-discography. Hardcore AD 1988. All the recorded output, for the most part, with some hand-picked live tracks. This came out on Prank Records. Gorgeous gatefold with some good flyers there. That iconic throat slash pen and ink art. Weird dog. Great stuff. I've ranted about these guys before. If you're not in the know, they were a New York hardcore band that pretty much existed mostly in 1987 and 88, it looks like. Members went on to be in Born Against. Super political, intelligent, angry, well thought out lyrics, mid-tempo to fast punk style kind of music. Very distorted and abrasive. I think I mentioned earlier how somebody referred to them as the Hellhammer of NYHC. So I guess I'll just repeat that point because I think it's a very good basis for comparison. But yeah, this is some of my favorite stuff here. One of my favorite New York hardcore bands. As much as I like the typical bands, there's all these weirdo bands like these guys in Yuppicide and Bug Out Society and stuff that were on the fringes and really fun to listen to. Sort of part of the whole ABC No Rio kind of scene. So before I get into the 7 inches, I also wanted to mention that the raffle is ongoing until I hit 300 subscribers, which probably won't be for another couple of weeks. But below I'll put the link for my email address for the channel. And I forgot to mention, if you want to enter, send me an email with your name and address, or somewhere to send the mixtape. One lucky winner will get a 120-minute mixtape of crap that I've talked about on the channel and some other interesting surprises. So, we're in the U's. I actually pulled a bunch of stuff out that I just didn't want to talk about. I'm going to go through the U's, and then I have some of my splits, which I purged some of. Too much shit to talk about. And there's, I think, like one comp at the end. So we got this Unconsecrated Slave to the Grave. This came out on Dark Descent. I don't know, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. It's pretty good. It's sweet death worship. Definitely in tune, dismember style music. Vocals are a little bit deeper, kind of maybe more gravish or unleashed-ish vocals. They're from Spain. Super well done. Great riffs, you know. Certainly not reinventing the wheel. I think there's somebody from Crypts. There's backing vocals by Auntie from Crypts and somebody from Agonized on one of the songs on here. So they got an all-star jam. It's good. Don't spin it very often, but it's definitely good. Part of the earlier days of Dark Descent. Then we have a repress of the self-titled Underdog 7-inch. Great Sean Taggart art there. One of my favorite artists in hardcore. If you're not familiar with Underdog, this came out on Bridge 9, the B9. That great label art. Clear. So cool. If you're not familiar with Underdog, they were from like the cooler side of the pillow as far as the New York bands went. I mean, from what I heard, the singer was a pretty tough dude, but they had more stuff that was related to like skateboarding and, you know, being frustrated with friendships gone wrong and that sort of thing. Vocally, Richie's vocals, as time went on, got more and more similar to like the Bad Brains. They almost had almost like a West Coast like skate punk kind of vibe for a New York band. But yeah, this is great stuff. I think this is the same stuff that was on their first demo, just repressed onto a 7-inch. Good stuff though. Catchy shit. Next we got Unholy Grave. This is crazy Japanese grindcore. This is a double 7-inch. I'm just a sucker for double 7-inches. I'm not sure why. It's on blue. I haven't listened to this in ages. It's, from what I remember, pretty blown out and pretty nuts, pretty blasting. Another band that has a gazillion releases. Good for a poke. Not too shabby. And we also have more Possecore coming at you. Some Unity. I almost said Undertow. Unity. This is a self-titled 7-inch. I love this little shaved head guy. He's smashing through a wall. Racism, ignorance, fascism, hate, apathy, sexism, negativity, and abuse. All getting smashed out by the positivity. This was a reissue on Indecision Records, probably like, 99, so quite a while ago. Awesome scorcher of a record. Just, you know, you take the intensity of like a band like Minor Threat, make the vocals more melodic and more intense, maybe a little bit faster, and you're headed in the direction of what this sounds like. Makes you want to jump around the room, give people hugs, give people bro hugs, make them uncomfortable. Then we got some Varukers. Another Religion, Another War. This is on Sewage Records. This also came out, I believe, on 12-inch, but another double 7-inch. These guys were really similar musically to Discharge, at least in the beginning. A little bit more cleaned up sounding, not quite as blown out and distorted, but that very mono riffing, I guess. Very simple, repetitive riffs, but great, super energetic. Another Religion, Another War is just great. Just blitzing rager, 3-chord, fucking spiky-haired chaos. Shit's awesome. Another Detest, Meisako Un Ojo release here. Awakening the Grave, BW, Morbid Destruction. Let's see. This is Detest Records number 13. Not much to show off. Just a photocopied insert. It's on the back, front. Black vinyl, you don't need to see that. Haven't spun this in quite a while either. I remember it being suitably creepy, sort of ethereal, but very much straightforward, sweet death kind of stuff. Little melodic edge, kind of haunting, but very abrasive and Swedish sounding too. Vice Squad, Resurrection EP on Riot City. Riot City put out a ton of classic punk. If you want to check out early British UK punk, Riot City's a good place to start. This band was fronted by a young woman by the name of Becky Bondage. Classic labels there, the sort of 45 thing in the middle. Yeah, really cool melodic pogo punk kind of stuff. They had some great jams back in the day, Stand Strong, Stand Proud. This, I think, was a little bit more aggressive and rough around the edges in their full length, if I remember correctly. Picked this up in Albany. My friend Chris Lawrence a few years ago. One of the most underrated bands that I think unfortunately called it a day a few years ago in extreme metal. Villains from New York, probably Brooklyn, I think. Street metal was their kind of self-applied moniker. Heavy Celtic Frost influence, kind of slow, kind of really creepy. Just remind me of something out of the gutter, or out of like a movie like Maniac or something like that. They just had that vibe. I have all their LPs, and they're split with fingernails. They were so fucking good and so underrated. Just gnarly, scary, evil, urban-sounding shit from the streets. Check them out. I'll put a link for them. I'll probably put several links for them, because you should listen to everything they have. I don't understand why they weren't bigger on Nuclear War Now for the most of their output. Probably because they, didn't have enough of a Goat Fago approach or whatever. Violent Minds, Riot EP. This is awesome. I think this 7-inch is over in like 4 minutes or some shit like that. 4 to 7 for the entire record. It's only 3 songs. If I remember, there was people from No Warning involved in this. But yeah, like, kind of oi influenced old school hardcore. Songs that get stuck in your head for days. Fucking catchier than whatever I caught last week that made me sick as shit. Then we have Violent Reaction, UK band. Like I mentioned a while ago, I think. There's a bunch of awesome bands from the UK that are all kind of taking the best parts of American hardcore and mixing it with British oi and like some of that Riot City shit that I was just talking about, and having a great result. This is Violent Reaction. I think they put out a record on Revelation recently. But yeah, great stuff. Let's see. Oh, this was called Riot, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. It's on Parts Unknown. So bad with mentioning labels and whatever. I don't even remember what that Villains is on. I think it's on Nuclear War now. Anyway, this came out on Painkiller. I think it's just on Black. Nope. No. There you go, kids. Weird, pukey, psychedelic green there. But yeah, you know, meat and potatoes stuff. Nothing out of the ordinary. It's just extremely well done, you know. It's like if Negative Approach just listened to a little bit more Foreskins for the most part, you know. Fucking great, though. And we got this little number. First Vital Remains 7-inch. Probably the first Vital Remains release other than a demo, I would think. On one of my favorite 7-inch labels, Thrash Records from France. Just black. There's the back there. No insert. But yeah, kind of the style that they had on Let Us Pray, their first record, but wicked raw. Like I expect from these kind of releases. Just you know, incredibly loud, intense music with a certain level of intricacy to it that none of the recording captures, which is perfect. Great satanic death metal from Rhode Island there. We got this Witch's Hammer release. This is great speed metal. This is on Nuclear War now. These guys were Canadian. Black vinyl. Got the speed metal wheel, of course. Just, yeah, really awesome speedy thrash metal. Real evil. Real intense. They had some connection to Blasphemy. I think they shared a guitarist or something at one point. That fact may not be true, knowing me, but thought I read that somewhere. World Downfall. You can maybe guess what this sounds like. Japanese band that were pretty big fans of Terrorizer. No idea what label this is on. Photocopied cover. Aggro Mosh Records. Aggro Mosh Records. Yeah. Japanese Terrorizer love. Good stuff. Haven't spun that in a long ass time either. I need to respin all my Japanese shit in this box apparently. Then we got some Wretched Ones. Classic New Jersey oi here. Signed by the members. eBay Gold. But yeah, just great. I think I've ranted about these guys before. It's just awesome, catchy 3-chord stuff. Gruff vocals. I hated school. The song We're Not Stopping Now is a great drinking anthem. Drinking and working anthem. I like that. Recorded to TIAC 8-track. That's the way it should be done. Fucking rad. Right there. Jersey stuff. Anything out of Jersey, man. YDI. Fucking insanely violent hardcore from Philly, from the early 80s. If you want to see some of the most terrifying, not footage of the crowd being like, you know, tough guys in the mosh pit or whatever, just the most terrifying yet energetic singer ever, the singer Jackal. I'm sure there's YouTube footage of these guys playing live. And this is an incredibly abrasive recording too. Took a little getting used to for me because it's just like harsh as fuck and distort as hell. It's great though. Out for Blood is the fucking jam. You guys just screaming Out for Blood over and over again. Super hard. Awesome shit. Oh, I love this jam. Anyway, Zero Tolerance, Fuel the Fire. Great metal tinged hardcore from Buffalo. This is a re-release on Reaper Records. Nice cute little 45 holder. Yeah. Just kind of muscular metallic hardcore with a lot of double bass. Good amount of meat and potatoes, kind of moshy, borrowed thrash metal riffs. kind of stuff. It's unclear. Easily could have been further downstate in New York. But yeah, awesome classic Buffalo shit. Nobody ever talks about this band. I think I picked this up on the Reaper website like maybe a year or two ago for like $2. Because I think most people that order from that label only care about their newer bands, which is a shame because they've reissued some great bands. Alright, so, wet my whistle here. Get into the splits here. Charles Bronson and Ice 9. Both bands were fast, spazzy, a little loose on the loose side, screamy kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure Charles Bronson's style and influence and name precedes them. Ice 9 might be a little bit more obscure to a lot of people out there. It's on Purple. Charles Bronson known for their biting wit and their really long song titles. Tony Victory Knows How to Party, that's a good one. Kill the Drunk Punks. OLC, One Life Crew, Goes on Slim Fast, etc., etc. Influenced a lot of stuff that happened a few years later that was not nearly as good. Mark McCoy is still very involved, running Youth Attack Records and, you know, doing his thing. Then we have the Sacrifix Stargazer split. I already gushed about Sacrifix a couple updates ago, but Australian guys doing a melodic Greek kind of thing. Stargazer, also Australian, but doing more of a technical death metal kind of thing. Both bands are incredible. The Stargazer full lengths are really, really worth tracking down if you haven't heard them. I think it's Merging Into the Boundless is the one I have. Fucking great record. Avulsion, another band that I went over way at the beginning of this series, but power violence with a little bit more of a grind or death metal edge with more brutal vocals. Forced Expression was also kind of thrashy power violence, kind of hardcore, hyper fast hardcore, maybe a little bit of a grind edge. Forced Expression, if I'm not mistaken, had Daryl Kahan of Disma playing guitar and singing, playing guitar and singing vocals. But yeah, I've got a couple of Forced Expression records and they're very good. Another band that I think kind of slipped through the cracks and people don't really talk about as far as that classic power violence stuff, but really, really cool. This is on Recalcitrant Noise from Minneapolis. We got the, I think I mentioned this too, the legendary Screeching Weasel Born Against split, where Born Against, abrasive, aggressive, kind of noisy, discordant, political hardcore, came out of the band that we're listening to now, doing a split with Screeching Weasel, who were a Ramonesy, snotty pop-punk band. And they wrote each other's songs, or at least each other's lyrics, so it was a pretty cool concept for a split 7-inch. I also have the Nama and Warfare State split right here. For the life of me, I can't remember what Warfare State sounds like, so I'm just not going to bother. Nama was a band that I used to really, really dig, and I still like throwing on once in a while. They were emotional hardcore, or screamy hardcore from the 90s, which was a totally different thing than what it became later, that were so intense and metallic to the point where it almost sounded like black metal. Awesome stuff. Very, very frenzied and evil and crazy sounding. Lyrics vocals kind of sounded like somebody having a nervous breakdown. It's great. Here's another classic from them days, the Integrity Mayday split. Probably two of the best songs Integrity's ever done. Certainly two of the slowest, most metallic, most creepy and evil sounding songs. Rebirth and Kingdom of Heaven. And Mayday, two of the best songs I think they've done too. Just great, you know, they don't make them like they used to as far as this sort of evil metallic hardcore stuff goes. There's Integrity Skull, this is on Yellow, this is on Game 2 out of Maryland, which means probably somebody in Mayday had something to do with it. I'm gonna flip this. And I'm back. This is a great split, and a really cool looking one here. Unfortunately, getting it out of this fucking Mylar sleeve is a chore in and of itself. Talking about the Necro Filth, Shock Troopers, Speedwolf split. I think it's the last recorded thing Speedwolf did. And of course, Cleveland's own Necrofilth. Speedwolf, if you're not familiar, one of my favorite recent bands, are now done. I think they're doing a more punk style band called Poison Rights, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, just like the best elements of Kill 'Em All, Motorhead, all kinds of 80s speed metal stuff, just non-stop raging really fast. Necrofilth are also a great combination of influences from the late 80s. Probably just like, I would say, Slaughter, I would say Repulsion, you know, that kind of early death metal grind kind of stuff. Two of my favorites. Awesome shit. Beautiful presentation. Awesome record. And we got Slugathor and Deep Red. And I don't know... Oh, Dementia put out that record. This is a great record. Slugathor I talked about before. Just great Finnish death metal. Doing the whole Finnish style. Demigod, Convulse, that style pretty well. Deep Red isn't as memorable. I seem to remember them being a little bit more brutal with two O's. But also pretty good. Not even sure where they're from. And... yeah, it doesn't say the label name on here, and I'm not really up to investigating. Then we got Hell's Headbangers release from a while back. Dr. Shrinker, another picture 7-inch here, split with Nunslaughter. Great release. I mean, Dr. Shrinker is one of my favorite old death metal bands. This is from a long-lost recording. The sound is really rough, but if you're a nut for them like I am, it's definitely worth the listen. You can definitely hear how they were getting more technical and kind of weird and squonky. Nunslaughter, great typical Nunslaughter song. Raging, fast, satanic death metal. The quality you've come to expect. Disma and Winterwolf. Disma doing their great deep dark, sort of Finnish, sort of early US death metal kind of style. Winterwolf, I remember being sort of Scandinavian sounding, but I haven't listened to this in a while. But yeah, very good split. This came out on Dementia as well. Nice gatefold. There we go. Whack myself in the face. What are you going to do? And here we go. This is the end, folks. This is it for what's in the box, and we're closing it out with a bang. This is a very, very early Victory Records release. Number 5, it looks like. This is the Only the Strong, the first Only the Strong compilation. There's some bands that went on to do a lot, and some bands that kind of faded into obscurity. We have Face Value, who I talked about on my 25 Records Got Me Into Hardcore Punk. Great, awesome Cleveland hardcore. A little bit of a rock and roll edge. They didn't really have it on this song yet, though. Confront, One Life, Drug Free. Incredibly fast, raging, like Judge on methamphetamines, which is, I realize, a kind of a silly thing to say. Integrity, early Integrity song, Darkness. Then we have like Life Cycle, Insight, Mean Streak, who are bands that I don't really know too much about. This is all stuff from the Midwest. Kind of tough, heavy for the time, metal-tinged hardcore mostly from the Midwest, from Ohio and I think like Minneapolis and Chicago and places like that. But awesome comp if you like stuff like this, which I am a friggin' nut for. I mean, look at this guy. We got Camo Pants, Chicago Blackhawks featuring a goalie mask, shaved head, ruddy cheeks. He's pointing. I mean, that's everything you should expect at a show like this. You know, this just screams what type of music this fucking sounds like. The music on here sounds exactly how that looks. Maybe that appeals to you. It appeals to me. If it doesn't, that's okay. You can stay far enough away. That's enough babbling for now. All right. So yeah, enter the raffle. You want a free tape? Enter the raffle. It's right there. I also, as I mentioned, started up an Instagram. Trying to be as prolific with it as I can. Probably be a little while before I really get that going at full tilt. All right. Have a good day. Bye.